slide, by the way. They've been kicking around this idea of this Corporate Transparency Act for probably, I want to say 3 years. I think 2021. Yeah, 2021 was when they finalized it, but they didn't make it effective until January 1 of this year. And it is the CTA, Corporate Transparency Act. So I see it all the time, and I still see advertisements from a very popular local attorney. When I say local, I mean domestic attorney. I've actually met him in person and had a short conversation with him about asset protection. And they have an approach that I never condoned, and I've never got someone involved with asset protection under the notion that there's going to be some type of secrecy about who the real owners are. I never condone that. I've never tried to get someone to sign up with that notion. The reason is because I know as an attorney what the powers of deposition, of interrogatories, I know what that is, and I know what it does. And I know that if you ever served with a subpoena to answer interrogatories, to be deposed under oath, that you're not going to be able to protect your identity. And they're going to say, well, I can put it under a different name. Well, they're going to ask you, you know, unless you get in more trouble. So let's just say, for instance, you put it under ABC Alpha Corporation. And that's a secret. You don't want them to know that John Doe is the real owner. And ABC Alpha Corporation had a fire on their premises and someone died. And so they're suing you for $20 million. So they're trying to figure out who Alpha is. And they have a good idea that you are Alpha. And they may have that by your operation, by what you're going through. If they have a smart attorney, the attorney can find out who's filing taxes for Alpha Corporation. They can figure that out. They can figure out who filed the papers. Even if you get your lawyer to find the papers, file the papers in secrecy, they can still figure out who paid the taxes. You know, they're gonna find it out. So never ever fall for the idea of keeping the owner's secret. And the CTA is coming full force with revealing who the real owners are. So if you have an attorney, if you have a trust, if you have something else who's filed that LLC for you, they're going to keep going back until they get to a real person. And that attorney is not going to be able to hold his water if something comes back on him. Believe me, he's going to give you up in a heartbeat. So even with attorney-client privilege, he's not going to risk his practice for you. Believe me, he won't. So with that being said, anytime and all time, if you have an LLC already formed, you have until the end of 2024 to file this beneficial ownership information report. You have until the end of the year. Now, if you form a new LLC in 2024, you have 90 days from the day you file to submit your beneficial ownership report. So there is no secrecy. Now, this information is filed with the IRS. So this is not publicly registered anywhere. So you don't have to get all too nervous about it, because it's not like it's public information anywhere. But in a situation where you have a government entity coming after you, then they will be able to get the information within their files. It's a government filing, and they'll be able to get to it. If it's a private individual trying to get to you, he'll have more trouble when it comes to that. Not to say that he can't be successful. I would, however, say that most attorneys probably don't know how to get this information from the IRS. But a smart attorney will be able to get the information. So never try to set up an entity under the idea that you're going to be cloaked in secrecy. It's not going to happen. It should have never been sold to you with that information or telling you that that's the reason, because I never do that. And also the fact that now you're going to have to reveal, what you own, who you own, and with the threat of fines if you do not. The fines are $500 a day per entity out of compliance. So if you have 3 LLCs and you have not filled out this and you have not complied, then that's going to be $1,500 a day until you comply. So this is serious business, guys. Ignorance is no excuse from the law. You got to know that this exists out there, and you got to stop listening to online experts tell you how to set up your entities, and they're not even attorneys. I was doing some marketing research about 4 or 5 years ago, and one of the most recognized LLC providers out there, I just called him to see what was going on. Okay, well, tell me what services you provide and what you charge and all that stuff. So I had a conversation with this gentleman. He's very nice, and he wanted, he kept closing for the business. He was a sales guy. He kept closing for the business. And finally I asked him, I said, well, are you an attorney? He goes, no, I'm not. He goes, but my son is. I said, well, shouldn't your son be taking this call and not you? He goes, oh, I'll give him your information and he'll get back with you. I said, oh, will you please do that? I gave him my information. And as I say, that was 4 or 5 years ago. I have yet to hear from that son. So my idea is that a lot of smart people have put a lot of people online and everywhere else, getting them to buy these corporate entities online without much professional advice and support. And it's not that simple, guys. I mean, it's easy to set up an LLC. You don't even need a company to do it. Contact your state secretary's office. I'm sure their forms are online. You can fill them out within about 20 minutes and you can have an LLC. But an LLC by itself does not help you. You need an operating agreement to go with that LLC to protect that LLC. So think of it like this. The LLC is the legal registered entity, but the wrapper, that protection, that protective item that's surrounding that LLC is a well-formed, well-thought-out operating agreement. And that's your protective device, not the LLC itself. So be careful who you talk to. Make sure that they are accountable for whatever they're saying. Try to get to a real attorney to have him answer questions, or you can run things by him and have him give you some advice at the expert level. So with that being said, guys, again, I'm attorney David Walker. I'm registered in Massachusetts. I'm practicing every day. I'm in the trenches attorney. I do both domestic as well as offshore asset protection. I do basic estate planning, wills, trust, powers of attorney, land trust. We do all sorts of trust. We do, we set up personal asset protection items as well as business asset protection items. We reduce taxes through proper planning. We work with CPAs. I have a national CPA firm that I work with. So it doesn't matter where you are, they can assist you. And then we typically do most of the work ourselves. If you work with an attorney locally and you want us to work with them, we'll be happy to do so. If you do not work with an attorney, but you need a local structure, then we can help you, but you may need to hire a local attorney to do that local structure. We'll take a look at it for you. We'll see how complicated it is. And if there's anything unique to that state, then we will refer you to a local attorney who can help you. I'm going to tell you that probably Louisiana is the most out of the norm type of state to deal with, because they're written under the I'm getting the term mixed up here, but it's like a Napoleon type of out of France type of law structure or background, whereas we in America, most of the other states are written on the Old English, out of England background. So some of the laws might vary there, but if it's a Louisiana situation, I'll probably just get a Louisiana attorney to help you. But for everyone else, I can pretty much help you. We even have clients in Alaska. So we have a pretty far reach. And if I feel like I can't support you directly, then I'll be more than happy to do my own research to find a local attorney who knows what he's doing, and he can provide local assistance for you. So with that being said, our website is www.neltlaw.com. Those are the basic abbreviations for Northeast Legal Team, NELT law.com. And my direct email is dwalker@NELTlaw.com. If you have questions or anything, please reach out to me. I'll be happy to help you. Our basic estate planning for personal starts at about $2,500 to $5,000. If it's more complicated, it could be more. Our basic domestic asset protection plan runs $10,000. More complicated, it'll cost you more. Our basic offshore, which is most likely going to be in Belize, is going to be $24,000 basic, $30,000 if we have to have a jump statute. Jump just means that, okay, my litigant has caught up with me in Belize, we're going to jump the assets over to Cook Islands or somewhere like that. And so it's a little more complicated and a little more expensive to put that one together. But anyway, so that's where we are. I appreciate you guys hanging in there. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you so much.